What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. Today is an exciting day. We are going to be going over 10 insane VR games that are going to be coming out here in 2024. And unless you've been sleeping under a rock and you have no idea what's going on, 2023 was a really good year for VR. We got some absolutely incredible titles, and some of those titles really blew me away on standalone, which was pretty impressive because I have not been a standalone person. I've been a PC VR first person for a long time, but the Quest 3 has changed that for me, and now I do believe that good VR games can actually be made on standalone that are full titles. Not that there wasn't some, but most of them I felt like were shorter experiences that lacked the graphical power that the PC can provide. With the Quest 3, the gap has been significantly reduced, and some of these games I really have gotten immersed into and enjoyed a lot more than I did on my Quest 2, that is for sure. However, this list contains some games that are standalone, some games that are PC, and a lot of these games will be coming to all platforms because, you know, that's kind of the modern way of doing VR. You have to get it on all platforms. So we're going to be going over 10 insane VR games coming out here in 2024. This list also is in no particular order because we don't know anything about these games, so I can't really rank them unless it was just ranked on what games I'm most hyped about. But I tend to have a certain genre, so like the top 5 games would all be the same genre. So that's not an entertaining video for you guys. You guys want to see a bunch of different games that are coming out that look really promising overall in VR. With that being said, guys, do drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and do check out our sponsor, Kiwi Designs. The link will be in the description, and we're going to hear from them right now before we hop into this video. If you guys are looking to upgrade your VR gaming experience, then look no further than the Kiwi Designs full suite of VR accessories. These accessories are absolutely incredible and very high quality made. They make everything from Quest 2 to Quest 3 accessories, including battery straps to increase your play sessions, comfort straps just to increase the comfort of the headset, controller grips to prevent you from throwing the controllers, and much more. If you guys are interested in upgrading your VR gaming experience, please do check out the referral link in the description. Every sale does help the channel, so I do appreciate it, and I hope you guys found the accessories you're looking for right here. Okay, guys, so with our first pick on this list, a game that I am super excited about because this is my genre. This is what I've put the most time into in VR, and that is Battle Royale games. And here we go, we have Gravity Royale. This game can potentially replace Population 1 for me, and that's saying a lot considering I have almost 1,700 hours on Population 1. It is my game. And Gravity Royale certainly looks like it potentially has the ability to maybe unseat Population 1 as my primary VR game, just because the graphics look beautiful, the gunplay looks fantastic. I love the way Battle Royales play. I think that it creates a lot of replayability. It's competitive. It's fun. There's a lot of strategy involved. It's constantly evolving, and every game is definitely different. So really what's going to come down to whether or not this game is what it can be is going to depend on what the developers do with it. And in my opinion, I think the movement in VR is so freaking important, and how this game handles the movement is going to be kind of everything. It's going to really determine whether or not this game sticks or not. And whether, you know, some of the trailer, the flying and stuff, you look a little slow in the flying. I hope that they increase that because, you know, I definitely don't want to get farmed while I'm trying to move across the map. As well as, of course, we have to see what the gunplay and the characters is like. That's one unique thing about Population 1 is that they do have quite a bit amount of characters. There's a lot of that personal feeling of you get attached to skins and certain play styles, and I'm really hoping that Gravity Royale can replicate that on their own level in their own way for their own game. So this game looks really promising and certainly going to be one that I am going to be picking up and reviewing on the channel. So next up on this list, another game I'm really looking forward to, and this is going to be Arken Age. Now, as far as I know, this game is only coming to PC and PlayStation VR. I'm sure that they're going to eventually work on an iteration to get it onto the Quest platform, but the graphics look absolutely beautiful in this game. Stunning to say the least, to be honest. And the gameplay itself looks really smooth, and what they're kind of touting here is a story-based adventure with exploring, crafting, and physics-based combat. That the combat from the trailer looks pretty solid. I think this is kind of everything that, you know, we want in a sci-fi kind of VR world here, and this game definitely has its own spin and uniqueness to it that I'm definitely looking forward to getting my hands on. Now, this could be one of those titles, quite frankly, that, you know, looks really nice in a trailer but plays terribly, and I've seen some of those in VR games, and this is kind of one of those ones that I'm going to try to also review. It's coming out here Q1, so we will have it pretty shortly, but it definitely looks like a game that has, you know, some beautiful environments, you know, a cinematic story. They're touting to be able to climb wherever you want in the world. It looks It's not open world, but it definitely looks like it has some exploration aspects to it. And certainly the combat just looks really smooth. Again, it could be, one of those things where the game plays terribly. I mean, I've seen that before in VR games, but certainly based on the trailer, this game looks like it could be a real contender for an epic VR game this year. Next up on this list, we have The Burst, which is looking like a Mad Max Fallout, Stride mix of, gameplay here with some Borderlands, aspects to it. It's kind of got a unique art style and a unique gameplay perspective from what I can tell from the trailer. It definitely has some of that Mad Max vibes, as, the world is basically a prison planet you're going to be on, and you're going to be, going throughout the world and completing various objectives and story-based missions. It looks kind of like it has an open world. I don't know. It doesn't say anything whether it's open world or if it's just levels, but the gameplay and the gunplay, as well as the free movement, looks really good. And like we were talking about in previous games here, movement is very, very important in VR. It's actually become one of the most important essential aspects to a VR game, right? How good is the movement, and how smooth does the combat, or how smooth does the environment or interactions feel? And based on the trailer, this looks like it's going to be one that is definitely going to have some of that smoothness to it. Again, without playing it, it's going to be hard to say, but it definitely looks like a really promising title, and I certainly cannot wait to get my hands on it. Next up on the list here, we have Wanderer: The Fragments of Fate, which is actually a remake of the original Wanderer VR game that was on Steam that came out in 2022. But this remake looks like it is a lot more smooth, and compared to 2022 VR, technology has come a long way. It's touting full body avatars, fully movement, as well as a massively improved graphic system to really improve immersion throughout the game. This game, it definitely looks like a good story-based game. I didn't play the first Wanderer game. Well, really this game, but, the first version of it that came out. I never played it. I just wasn't really my thing. This game, however, does look really smooth and looks like it's a much improved experience. And that first game had very, very positive reviews on Steam. So I can imagine that the remake, with all the improved graphics and the improved level design, as well as the improved controls, is going to be an epic adventure through time, which, story-based games in VR can really, really set the stage and take you to a multitude of places. I really enjoy story-based games in VR. They hit different, they stick with you for a long time, and you'll never forget your experiences when you play them. All right, with our next pick here, coming in, we couldn't ignore this one. This is going to be one that, if done right, is going to be absolutely incredible, and that is the Attack on Titan VR game. Official Attack on Titan VR game. There has been several mods over the years that have allowed you to kind of experience what it would be like to play or to be in the Attack on Titan universe. However, there is an official Attack on Titan VR game coming out for the MetaQuest platform, and based on the concept trailer, again, it's a concept trailer, it's not actual gameplay, but if they're able to mimic this kind of in VR and actually make it, much smoother than the modded experiences, well, I mean, we all know what this could be. And if you're an Attack on Titan fan, or, have ever watched the anime, I'm sure that you're very excited for this title, as I am. All right, with our next pick here, we have another Battle Royale game coming out from a very trusted developer, and that is Contractors Showdown. Now, what intrigues me most about this game is Contractors is kind of like the Call of Duty of VR, and of course, Contractors Showdown is going to basically be the Warzone of VR. So, of course, that's going to probably be a pretty popular title as long as they get it right. And the dev team of Contractors has had a lot of experience in the VR space now, so they certainly do know how to do shooter games. And I'm definitely looking forward to experiencing what a full-fledged Battle Royale is like in this environment. I don't know, for me personally, if it'll replace the Battle Royale that I currently play, Population 1, just because, again, movement is everything for me, and I love the way the movement's done in that game. This is probably going to be a little bit more realistic compared to that. So, again, everybody's going to have their taste, but this game looks really, really good, and I loved Contractors. I did play a lot of that for a while. So I'm certainly looking forward to the Battle Royale version of it. Next up on the list here, we have a game I'm very excited for, and I'm very excited to see more about, because we don't know a lot about it, but it is being developed by a pretty good developer, and that is Behemoth VR. Now, this is being developed by Skydance Interactive, which certainly does have some experience in the VR space, and they have developed some pretty good games in the past. So I'm definitely intrigued to see what they're going to do with a full-fledged kind of action RPG game, which is basically going to be what Behemoth is. Now, what this game is actually going to entail, whether it's open world, whether it's just, action adventure with level design, I do not know, and I don't think anybody currently does, but it certainly looks intriguing. And a game like this, coming out from basically a AAA studio at this point, or I should say a AAA VR game, obviously going to be a hyped up title. And if they do it right and they get the movement and the combat down, I think this could be one of the best games of the year. And of course, this isn't a genre currently in VR that we just don't have a ton of great games for. We finally did get a big one with Asgard's Wrath 2 on the standalone platform. We had some on PC over the last couple years, but this is definitely still a genre that is hurting for games. So I'm really excited to see what Behemoth VR can bring to the VR platform. And here with our next pick, we have a game that is a remake that, you've probably heard about at this point coming out, but I couldn't leave it off this list because we all know it's going to be really good as long as the VR mechanics that they've added are smooth and effective, and that is Bulletstorm VR. Of course, this is a port from the original Bulletstorm game that came out that was very beloved years and years ago, but it's a port that adds full-on VR mechanics, and it's not just like a flat-screen port with a mod. This definitely looks like a full-fledged VR title that has been remade for virtual reality, which of course is going to be super exciting because me personally, I never played the Bulletstorm game, and I love VR and pretty much only play VR games anymore, so I'm looking forward to playing this game for the first time in VR. And of course, it's going to have all those great VR features that we know and love, which is, weapon interactions and pulling levers and just being in the environment, as well as some of the large scale boss fights certainly look intense and, something I've never really experienced in virtual reality before. So this game is definitely going to be one on my list. I cannot wait to play it. It looks really, really fun. Next up here, we have a game that kind of took me by surprise in the sense that it's grown on me over the last couple months. As when I first saw the trailer, I was like, we'll see. And then as I started to read more and learn more about it and just kind of see some of the speculation about it, I think it could be a game that could actually really do really well this year, depending on a couple things, and that is Underdogs VR. Now, this is a physics-based mech brawler game, and it definitely looks like it could be a lot of fun, as well as give you that feeling of, smashing and bashing in mechs. Now, what I'm hoping to see from this game is obviously it's not going to be like an open world game or anything like that. At least I don't think so. It would be incredible if it was. But this game kind of is supposed to have like a story, and it definitely has some world building aspects just built into the trailer and built into the descriptions of the game. So what I'm definitely looking forward to is, how much customization, around your mechs is there going to be? What's the story? Is the story going to entail just you fighting in arenas, or is it going to be actually like moving around and, exploring hub worlds and different things like that? That's going to give you that extra sense of immersion when you're outside of combat. I think that's going to be the determining factor whether this game is like a banger or not, is if there's more than just arena fights, right? Like if all you do is go in and you just fight some dogs and then fight a mech and then it'll be an okay game. It might have some fun. Maybe it'll add some PvP, which will be interesting. But I think the biggest thing for this game is, how expansive into the world is it going to get? Because so far by the trailer and by the world building they've done, I'm certainly intrigued to maybe step into this world. All right, and with our last pick on this list here, a game that I've had on my radar for several years now that has continued to develop and continued to show some things that, looks like it could potentially be a next generation virtual reality game if they nail a couple things. And that is Lo-Fi. This game really looks detailed as all hell, and what they're touting in this game is an open world kind of RPG experience where you're going to have this entire cyberpunk futuristic city to go ahead and explore, and there's going to be a lot of different story options, as well as a lot of different environments and different things that are going to be going on throughout the game world. This could, if done right, this game could be absolutely incredible. And what I'm really hoping that is added to this game is it's not just single player. And that's the biggest thing, is that I want to feel that presence. And it may not be right away. It may not be, right at launch whenever it's multiplayer, but I certainly do want to experience what, going on some missions and stuff could be like in a world like this, where I can do it with friends. And I think that that's the biggest thing. But there seems to be a lot going on in this game, and the ability to hop in your own, hover spacecraft car that flies around the city and go to different locations in an open world VR game, I think is going to add a ton of immersion to just VR in general. And this is the type of game that I definitely want to see. I've had this one on my radar for a while. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It looks like it's going to be a real banger, and hopefully it doesn't get delayed again. But honestly, I don't care how long it takes for this game to come out. I just want it to be good. And that's the biggest thing. All these guys try to put these time limits on their games. And, instead of putting a time limit on the games that come out, I just want to see a good game, right? Like, don't rush the game or put it into early access and then pull a title out that, is okay, that has potential. And then, it ends up being good after like 6 months of updates. But at that point, the game's gone. Nobody's talking about it anymore. And so few games are able to reclaim that initial launch hype. And it's just like, it should be important to bring the game out in a really good state from the get-go. The biggest thing for this game is going to be performance. The graphics look absolutely incredible. I have a super PC. Well, I have a super graphics card. My CPU definitely limits me a little bit, but my GPU is pretty high end. But, what's the optimization going to be like? If I'm able to get in there and it's laggy and the frames are dropping, like, that's definitely immersion breaking in VR now. And I certainly like a good, smooth experience. So I'm excited for Lo-Fi. It looks like a really good game, and hopefully it does finally come out this year in a really, really playable state. Well, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys found one of these VR games and you're going to add it to your wish list for this year. Again, a lot of these games are coming out for both standalone and PC. Some of them are only coming out for standalone, at least for right now. We haven't gotten the word or not whether or not they're going to be coming out for PC as well. And then some of them, of course, are only coming to PC and like PlayStation VR 2 and maybe coming to standalone later. I can imagine that almost every single game that's only coming to PC that has any type of success will eventually get onto standalone, because like standalone accounts for most of the VR market right now. So you definitely got to get it on standalone if you want any chance of like real, financial success as a developer. And we understand that, but yeah, long story short, hope you guys found a good game on this list today. And I appreciate you guys watching. Please do drop a like on the channel, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.